Okay. I can't open this.
Aren't you lifting weights?
Yeah, I'm so strong. I swear. My hands are wet now.
Whatever.
Thank you. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. Your lid is on. This is fun already.
I know.
Okay, let me make sure this is working. Okay.
Your lid is on.
Oh, shoot. I did what you did. Okay, let's try this again. Cheers.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Thank You for Knitting YouTube channel. My name is Alana and I'm here with Lester of Prosper Yarn. Okay, so as promised, we're doing chats with indie dyers. I promised this a while ago and we're finally doing it.
Nice.
So we've known each other for how long?
Years.
Probably 7 or 8?
Yeah.
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 Okay. We're here because you are one of, I would say, the big yarn dyers in New Zealand. Would you concur?
Not saying much.
World famous in New Zealand.
We're so tiny.
Yeah, but you're world famous in New Zealand.
Okay, I'll own it. I'll own it. Yeah.
And I think a lot of dyers start small.
Oh yeah.
I think pretty much in general, indie dyers start small. Mm-hmm. I know you started as a one-person operation in your basement.
Yeah. Well,
with, like,
first the
one
kitchen.
pot. Yeah.
That didn't last long. The family was not up for it. The smell of vinegar and wet wool didn't appeal to them.
Weird. Yeah.
I loved it.
I would
So
too.
I got kicked to the laundry room, our 2-meter square laundry room.
I remember seeing it. It was very small.
I loved it because I wrote all my recipes on the wall in Sharpie.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I really liked that.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Is it still down there, all the
It
writing
is.
on the wall? Yeah.
It is. And then they kicked me out again.
Rude. So rude.
Yeah, so the smell was wafting up the stairs. So then it was during our COVID lockdown, and it was towards the end, and I figured out how to talk a realtor into meeting me at an empty space within walking distance, like just up the block from my house. And we wore masks, and I remember it was so weird.
Yeah, weird times.
Weird times. And I rented a commercial space, signed a lease, and went home and threw up.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You were so nervous.
So nervous.
Oh.
So nervous.
Yeah, it's a big step.
Yeah. I remember when I first started, and I spent $300 on yarn.
And that was a big deal.
300. I was like, this is money for my family, and I'm spending it on yarn. What am I thinking? So it's cute. Cute beginnings.
Yeah.
Cute beginnings.
Totally.
Yeah, and I don't think you ever intend to be like this big business. It just kind of slowly happens.
Organically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I quit my main job, I think 4 years ago.
I think it was, at least 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was 4 years ago when I quit because it was after the lockdowns.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right,
So I
so
was
maybe
teaching all the way through the lockdowns. So maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at the after lockdown because I was still teaching online.
Yeah.
Through Unitech. And then maybe a few months after I started in Glen Eden, I hired Tara 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she's been here that long.
Yeah. We're coming up on her 4-year anniversary, so.
And now you probably feel like you couldn't do it without Tara.
I can't.
You can't.
I can't.
It's a little scary. I don't know. For me, it was a little scary getting to that point with the shop where in the beginning I felt like, it was all me. It was like 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It was like all me.
Absolutely.
I was in there, we got a couple of part-time people here and there, but fundamentally I felt like this is on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And if anything happens, it's on me. And it was the scariest part for me, I think, of growing was actually getting to a point where I'm like, I have to depend on other people to a degree where if I lose everyone all at once, I cannot continue doing this on my own, you know? And I think you're kind of in that position with Tara as well, eh?
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you take that leap, and if everything falls apart, it falls apart. But you can't live in fear of that.
Well, I also want to be like, I don't know, the best boss I can be.
Yeah.
So I pay more than a living wage.
Yeah.
And I try to mentor her in business so that she's not just dyeing yarn, but she's also learning about running a business, because who wouldn't be interested in that?
Totally.
I love running a business.
Yeah. But you're like me, right? You just learned it as you did it. You didn't really
I guess I was an entrepreneur my whole life because I was a lousy employee. I was the worst.
Yeah. Like you didn't.
The worst.
You didn't do a good job, or you just.
I just hated every minute of it. Like I was just really bad at being an employee. Yeah, so I guess I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and I didn't realize it till I was in my 50s. I didn't start this business until, mid-50s.
Cool.
Yeah, like Martha Stewart.
Ah. Let's tell people what we're knitting in case they want to know. Let's tell people what we're wearing.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what are you wearing?
This is the weekend. Is this the
the
weekend?
weekend slipover.
Yeah,
V-neck.
This is the weekend slipover V-neck.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to read the
by Petite Knit. I think it says 3 skeins. Takes 3 skeins of Keenaz.
Weekend slipover. Yep, 3 skeins Keenaz, 100 grams. Yep. About 3 times 100 grams. Yeah.
So Keenaz is kind of a 10-ply.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of linen in it.
Like 10% or something?
Yeah, good grape. Good grape.
Good grape?
Good grape,
What's
Otherwise
that?
known as drape.
Oh! And I'm wearing it too.
Woohoo! Wonder
This is Keenaz. Yeah. This is Keenaz I'm wearing. I've worn it before on the podcast. It's what's it called? Felix Cardigan by Amy Christoffers.
Oh, I want to knit that.
And by the way, it only took 4 skeins, even with all the sleeves and stuff. 4 skeins of Keenaz.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to knit that. Cute buttons too.
Thank you. They're leather, and we have them at the shop. Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah. And this is Kate Moss, the color.
Kate Moss.
And this is Maven.
Maven.
Okay, so you launched off in Glen Eden 3 or 4 years ago-ish.
Just as a production
Yeah.
place. It was never intended to be a store.
That's right. It was more like you needed just room for dyeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Room for the smell, apparently.
Yeah, yeah. And then you thought, oh, well, we may as well open our doors a little bit? No.
People were knocking on the door.
Right, because they're walking by.
Yeah.
Because you were on the main street. She was on the main street in Glen Eden. So like,
a little village.
Yeah, with a big window. So people are walking by. They're
There's
like,
a train station across the street.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of like right in the center of that area.
Yeah.
So I think for people walking by, they would be curious what's going on in there. And
yeah, so they, we just kept getting people knocking on the door.
It's good.
Can I buy yarn?
Demand.
Yeah, we just got furniture off of Facebook Marketplace and tried to make it open and spacious and full of light.
Yeah.
I was an architect in my former
I was going to say
life.
she was an architect, and I would like to say about you that your aesthetic sense for space is very good. Like putting together a space, like a large room, a large space.
Or
I
a
feel
tiny space like this. It's tiny.
Yeah. But you've maximized it, I think, with how you put the furniture. And
tiny spaces are way more challenging and way more rewarding when you get them right.
because part of, I think, what you've done is you've blocked the spaces. You know, we have the corner here with the couches. We've got the coffee over there. The yarn is hanging on the walls. Like it's, it doesn't feel that tiny, I think, because of how you've set it up.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to Glen Eden. You got all the furniture.
Yeah, so I just decided my aesthetic was going to be Nordic industrial.
Ooh.
I didn't that means. No, basically I wanted it to feel spacious. I didn't want to feel overwhelmed or claustrophobic when I walked into the space. I wanted it to have a lot of light
Yeah.
a lot of volume. And that's been kind of my key driving aesthetic, really. And modern, feel for modern knitting.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think part of what I loved in your old space, you had these like curtains that went from the very high ceiling all the way to the floor. They looked so epic.
I know. I think I should hang them back up.
You should. Well, but I like what you have now, because if in the window, I mean, if I'll do a tour later.
It's more commercial here.
Well, but you have, I know what you mean. But right now there's like the longest hanging beautiful hand-dyed fibers in the window, and those are very eye-catching.
Yeah, we're just getting into dyeing fiber. Just learning, it's completely different than dyeing yarn.
Yeah.
And just learning how to do that, because I want to learn how to spin. Everyone wants to learn how to spin.
And I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you today after this video. Okay, when you first started opening then, did you open just a few days a week, or were you straight away open all the time? I don't remember.
Just a few days a week. And it was the tail end of lockdown.
Yeah.
So not a lot of people, they were nervous to come out, you know? You were allowed to come out of your home, but people were nervous.
Yeah.
And so it was perfect for me starting a new business, because it was this real soft launch. You know, it was like, it was kind of perfect. I really loved it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to fake walk my dogs anymore to deliver yarn, because I used to like take my dogs and put the parcel under my armpit and walk and deliver yarn to people's post boxes.
Oh my gosh.
Because you weren't allowed to drive around your car for unnecessary things.
That's right.
And yarn delivery was not necessary.
That's very true.
Even though I wrote to the government and said, you don't understand. It's
we
really
need it.
necessary.
But I was thinking, like,
and they were
all
like,
of us,
nah.
all of us knitters probably had such a big stash at home.
Yeah.
We're like, do we need new yarn?
But all the new knitters who started knitting during lockdown were kind of like, I have a yarn emergency.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I do remember the hardest part for us, there was like a 2-month period, I think, where we couldn't ship yarn, we couldn't open.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 1.5 months, but it was more than a month.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so you were in Glen Eden. That was cool. I think what you were bringing was something unique, because you're an indie dyer and selling directly in a retail shop, where normally we have indie dyers dyeing at home, retail shops like ours selling those yarns. But I think it's quite unique in New Zealand, and maybe the only one in Auckland.
Yeah,
maybe
I think it's really unique.
I think you're definitely the only, I mean, you're the only like shop that I know of in Auckland who is a shop and a dye studio combined.
Yeah, I love it when people walk in and say, you only have one brand?
Yeah, that's right.
It's so funny.
Yeah. What is probably really cool for people is that they can get a bit of a sense for, have you ever done tours or like showed people your dye space? I remember you did something like that in the old shop, didn't you?
Yeah, in Glen Eden, we felt kind of like zoo animals, because people could just stand there and watch us dye.
Yeah.
And there was a separation of a counter, like a bar counter.
Yeah.
And now we dye in a closed space in the back we're like a proper studio now. So we have proper ventilation system that we installed. And we just keep it separate, because it's just easier to keep this space clean and tidy, smelling nice. And there's a moisture component that you don't necessarily want in your store.
I see what
So
you mean.
we've separated it at this point.
And it's nice to have privacy when you're doing the dyeing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so these days, okay, so then tell us about when you moved here to Ponsonby from Glen Eden.
My gosh.
How did that happen?
We just outgrew Glen Eden, really.
Yeah. And look, for those of you who aren't, if you're watching this and you don't live in Auckland, Glen Eden is pretty far out west, to be fair. So Auckland is very spread out. We have Central City, we have the east, the south, the west. It's very spread out. And Glen Eden is very far west. So I think a lot of people who are around sort of the center of the city, they wouldn't drive that far west.
No, they absolutely did not. When we moved here, we stopped getting online orders, and we were so nervous for like a few weeks. We're like, what's going on? Our total sales for the day or the week or the month was the same, but our online orders disappeared.
Yeah.
And it's because we moved our store to where our customers live.
So they were coming in person.
Yeah, so they were coming in person. So it was really nice to meet the people we had been shipping to for all those, 2 years.
Yeah.
We were in Glen.
Oh, that would be, yeah. Yeah, because Ponsonby is one of the very central suburbs in
It's
Auckland.
very foodie.
Yeah, foodie. It's cool here, and it's accessible from the downtown area. So I reckon you would get a lot more foot traffic around here.
Yeah, and we love being across from the park.
Yeah.
So we're across from a dog park. So we get lots of little dog customers come in, which is nice because we have a espresso machine.
Yeah.
So sometimes the dog owners will walk their dogs and come up and get a coffee.
Coffee and yarn.
And even some of the knitters are dog lovers, and they bring their dogs in here and just sit and knit with their dog.
Mm-hmm. And occasionally your dogs make an appearance in here?
Yeah. We're going to spin my dog's fiber.
Oh.
Yeah. My dogs don't shed. They have to be shorn like sheep. Roy even looks like a sheep. You'll need to put a little picture of Roy.
Yeah,
in the
I'll
video.
insert a picture of both of your dogs,
Yeah.
Nero and Roy.
Okay. Yeah. We should
They're
definitely
big.
spin their fur. They're getting groomed right now.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
Okay, so then, you've been to Ponsonby now for...
A year this month. Woohoo! Happy birthday to
Wow,
me.
Happy
We need to do a little party.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 year. We started off the store by getting a massive bag of yarn.
Mm-hmm.
And there must be terminology for this particular bag because it is so big. Is
it a bale?
It's a bale.
And it's like densely
Look
packed?
at the big brain on Alana. It's densely packed.
Yeah.
So it's like the can of biscuits when you you tap the can of biscuits on the bench top and then it puffs out. It was like that. Yeah.
Yes. That's like sometimes I get fiber and stuff like that where they send it compacted and then it sort of... Yeah.
Well, that's how we started off our business here. So we're trying to support New Zealand wool growers because they're really doing it rough right now. So we commissioned a mill in the South Island to spin our own bespoke yarn.
And I have knit with it and I love it.
It's amazing.
That's Epic.
Yeah.
I've talked about Epic before on my podcast. So it's
That's
woolen
awesome.
spun.
Yeah.
It's 100% half bred, right?
Yeah.
Which is a sheep
100%
breed
half
here.
bred. Yeah.
Yeah.
4% of the New Zealand flock.
What's it a cross between originally? Is it Romney and Merino? No.
I think it's a long wool. I want to say Lincoln. Yeah. And it's a very soft micron. It's probably 20 micron. But when you woolen spun a yarn, it has a little bit more toothiness to it.
Yeah, it feels woolly.
Yeah, it feels like
Oh yeah, there you've got some. Yeah.
you can just
Squishy.
kind of, it's airy, lofty, squishy.
Yeah.
But if you just touch it, it has that handle of toothiness. So people assume it's not as soft, but it actually is sometimes a lower micron than a very fine merino that you would say is next to skin soft. So once they make a garment out of it and wear it, then they understand.
I agree because I've knit with it and I feel like, I already think it's soft in the skein.
Yeah.
But once it's knit up, it feels so soft.
It's very squishy.
Yeah. The twist on it is really nice.
We deliberated on the twist for quite a while. We went back and forth and did lots of samples, and this was the winner. I love the twist.
Yeah, I remember, people might not know, but when you're designing a yarn like this, I remember when you were deciding on your twist, and the mill had shipped you all these little samples of different sort of pieces that they'd done at different levels of twist, and you were deciding kind of, which one do we like?
Oh, that's so cool, you got to see that.
Yeah.
That's how we started our whole Ponsonby experience, was that they just dumped it on the footpath and left.
The couriers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 170 kilos.
How did you move it ultimately?
That's such a good question. I had to call everybody I knew that was related to me.
She does have 3 young men in
Strong
her
boys.
family.
Yep, and my nephew. So I had all the boys and my nephew come over.
Wow.
And we just unpacked it because no one could move it.
Yeah.
So we literally, I'm so glad it wasn't raining, and we just
Ooh, yeah.
unpacked it from the footpath and slowly moved it into the studio.
Wow. Oh, this is epic. Knitted up. Let's show this.
Oh yeah.
Is that the same color as
Same color.
Oh, fantastic. This is the yarn.
Yep.
I can't get too close to the camera, but hopefully you can see. I'm gonna just skein it up really quick. So if you were in here shopping for this yarn, it would look like this, more or less, in a skein. And then this is it. Knitted up. Look how pretty. That's really pretty. And is this one of the machine knit ones that you guys are selling?
Yeah, Kurt is knitting those for us locally. He actually lives very close, and he knits those for us, and they're for sale in the store.
Pretty
So
awesome.
exciting!
Yeah, Kurt is a friend of our shop as well.
A friend of the show.
Yeah, so he's getting these done for you. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Hey, do you want to make a cameo for a second?
because you're dressed for it.
Put your
You're
shampoo.
totally
You are
dressed for
dressed for it. Yeah. Okay, we were talking about Tara earlier, so I want to show Tara. This is Tara.
Hi everybody, I'm Tara.
We have done quite a few design collaborations over the years.
Yeah, it's been super fun.
I was a very, very new designer when Lester, I think you reached out to me. I think you might have seen me on Instagram. I don't know how we first even found each other, but
Oh yeah, I
we
probably
reached out
did
about
see you
doing
on
a collab.
Instagram.
Yeah, I think we started talking about doing a collaboration, and that's actually how we first met each other. And I think that some of my earliest patterns were in your yarn. Let me just pull it up here. I'm curious.
Do you know which my favorite is?
Which one?
I love the black sand shawl.
I love it too. That feels like a perfect shawl.
Oh,
And your sample
you
got
have
stolen.
to knit the black sand shawl. It's so good.
We kind of thought of it together. I remember drawing a little sketch.
It's my favorite.
I just think the proportions are good, and
And I've had 2 shawls stolen.
yeah, and that
that's
was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to knit another one.
I know. I love that design. That was one of the easiest designs I've ever designed.
It's so beautiful.
Normally I have a mental block, or it takes me time,
Yeah.
or I rip things out. That one I literally cast it on, and I just knit it in 7 days,
Yeah.
wrote it as I knit it,
Yep.
and then it was just so easy. So that tells me
wonder-
that like the creative flow
Yeah.
was
I wonder if
happening.
there's a correlation between how happy you are with something and how easy it was to bring it into the world.
Yeah. That was one of those moments where I just felt inspired. Like,
I love that pattern.
normally I feel like I'm working a little bit against myself, but that time was just like, shoop.
Yeah.
So I've done 7 patterns in your yarn, it looks like, over
Nice.
the years.
And I love the Firebird shawl too.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah.
Named after your color,
Yeah.
Firebird. And the
So
other one
cute.
that we did early on was Brushstroke Hat. That was a really cool one too.
Oh yeah, I still sell kits for that.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it just needs 1 skein of butte.
Yeah.
But I
that's
love how
awesome.
the herringbone stitch makes
Yeah.
the hand-dyed yarn look. I'll
Yeah.
insert photos of all these patterns I'm mentioning, because otherwise people feel left out.
Yeah, the brushstroke hat is amazing. That also came very easily for you, I think.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah.
The
that one.
technique was challenging.
Yeah,
to figure
well,
out how to do the decreases in the herringbone.
and the ratio between the brioche and the herringbone to get
Yeah.
a straight line, because their
Yeah.
gauges are completely opposite. But that one was really cool. Yeah.
It's a real testament to your ability as a
Aw.
designer.
So nice. Okay, let me see if we have questions to answer. Okay, in my last podcast episode, I asked you guys to ask questions for Dyers. So I have a few here. So let's see if we can find some good ones, and we'll ask you those questions.
Sure.
Cool. Okay, this person is saying, I'm always curious about yarn dyers' favorite and least favorite colors to dye and bases to dye on, and the reason behind it. Are some colors or bases more difficult to work with or get consistency from? So yeah, that's the gist of the question. Do you have favorite colors to dye, favorite bases to dye? Are some harder than others? What's your experience with that?
Yeah, some bases, each base dyes completely differently. And you just get to know the personality of that yarn. And you get to know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So some bases are problem child. But they're such beautiful yarns, you just put up with it.
Yeah.
So sometimes a base will grab the dye so quickly it doesn't dye evenly. It'll just get hot spots.
Yeah.
So if that happens, we love to pre-soak it so that there's more of an evenness. And sometimes we'll put it into cold water just to prevent that grab from happening. And you only learn by your mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just have to do it over and over and over again, and you say, let's try this, let's try that. We actually watch a lot of YouTube. What did they learn? So it does help us.
Yeah, learning from other people.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
but I
neat.
would say most of it that we've come up with now, our techniques, has been trial and error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of the big ones, what comes to my mind with this reading this question as well, because people don't know this. When you started carrying some plant fibers like linen and silk and 100% cotton and stuff
Totally
like that,
different way to dye.
completely different,
Yeah.
right? So you need
Yeah.
protein dyes for protein fibers
Yeah.
or acid dyes,
Yep.
and then different dyes for plant fibers, right?
Yeah, it's
completely
called
different
fiber
dyes.
reactive dyes. Yeah.
So you have to buy them
different.
totally separately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is plant fiber.
Linen
So this
and
is
silk.
it's a combo, and you can see how the silk and the linen will grab the dye differently.
I hope that
So
everyone can see that.
It's a little bit of a marl,
Yeah.
and this is a ranunculus
Oh yeah.
in that fiber.
So you're saying that this is multicolored because the silk is taking the dye differently than the.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I hope
Yeah.
they can see that. I think hopefully they can. Yeah. So it looks a bit marled. Oh, that's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
But you have been able to get really vibrant colors on the plant with the plant dyes too. That's been cool to see.
Yeah, it just takes days.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a long process, so we can only offer those plant fibers in the summer. We just don't have the facilities or the manpower to dye plant fibers
Year round.
throughout the year.
Oh, I have a question. This isn't this just came into my mind. What are in general across the board around the year your top selling bases? Are there some really obvious ones that are always top sellers?
Mint outsells everything by far. So mint is a kid mohair silk lace weight.
Lace weight.
Our mohair is really super soft.
You do have a very soft mohair.
And it's because we have a top secret dye technique.
Ooh, you heard it here, folks.
We maintain the softness of the original yarn through our dyeing technique.
Wow.
So it does take 24 to 48 hours. So it does take a while, but it's so worth it.
Well, I can confirm your mohair is very soft.
It's so soft.
And I guess people are holding it together with everything, so that makes sense
Yeah.
that it's popular. And the colors look so good.
You just have to treat it like it's fragile to maintain.
While you're dyeing it, you mean?
While you're dyeing it.
Yeah.
Just always keep in mind that it's delicate.
Yeah. Oh, before we move on to another question, I thought based on what you were saying before about how the different bases take the dye differently, maybe I will grab a couple of skeins of different bases in the same color to show the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
What color do you think is a good demonstration of like how different it can look? I could grab Firebird. I see Firebird everywhere.
We are really sold out of yarn. So
Looks good to me.
Yeah.
I could grab Firebird. I see one in almost every base.
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay.
I think my favorite colors to dye are the solids.
Oh, interesting.
Because I love the challenge. Solids are the most challenging. To prevent them from striking fast and being very uneven.
Right.
Solids are the most challenging. So I really like dyeing solids. That being said, hand painting, you just feel like you're an artist.
Yeah.
You're just in there with your bottle and your tongs and you're hunting for white yarn, and it's just super fun.
Yeah.
So there's no pressure when I'm hand painting. I can have a lot of fun. But when I am doing a submerged yarn in a big pot, I have to focus.
Yeah.
And it feels challenging. So
Yeah.
one is challenging and one is fun.
Oh yeah, that's a question that I'm just going to ask you all the questions I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I guess some people I think dye just in pots, some people dye just in pans. You do both, eh?
Well, yeah, and we're adding a third method this week.
Ovens or something?
Yeah, so we're going to add an oven. So basically it takes those silver gastronorm trays So you put your yarn in the trays and then put your trays in the oven, and it's a very low temperature. So it does require to be in there for hours. So a lot of dyers will set it in the evening and let it just slowly heat through the night, and then come in the morning and it'll be cool by then, and then just wash their yarn. Because it's not great to wash hot yarn.
No, because the shock of the different temperatures, right?
So you want to let it cool. Also, we find one of our trade secrets is to let, especially deep, intense colors like our reds, real vibrant reds, let them sit overnight. Don't be in a hurry to wash them. Even though they've cooled, let them completely go to cold in their dye water. And that is the trick. Then they won't release their dye when you're knitting them against white. So you could do a red and white striped sweater, and with our yarn it'd be totally fine. Yeah,
because red dyes tend to be the ones that bleed the most from everything I've heard.
They do.
Yeah. So you have to be, like, whenever I've knit with something red, I'm just a little bit more cautious how I'm washing it and caring for it.
So I think we take a lot of time in making our yarns.
I think you have a delivery.
Do I have a delivery?
Yeah. Okay, I want to show this color, Firebird, on these different bases. Some of them are more similar, some of them are dramatically different. So I might need your help holding things up.
Okay.
So this is Firebird on Keenaz, which is that 10-ply merino linen that we're both wearing. Can you hold that? Oh.
Do you want to take the label off?
No, the label's great.
Okay.
That's Keenaz. This is Firebird on Epic, the yarn we were talking about, the custom spin you had done, which is a non-superwash, so that kind of affects how the dye...
Yeah, superwash will be shinier, more vibrant, and the non-superwash will be a little earthier, kind of more natural looking. And
it needs more dye to get the same saturation.
Yeah, it does need more dye.
This is Sweet As, which is 4-ply
alpaca merino.
Oh yeah, I was like, I'm forgetting what this is.
It's
this is the new sock yarn. Yeah,
it's a brand new
it's a new one.
Yarn. Yeah, we love this yarn.
And then we have 8-ply 100% merino. DK, Prosper DK.
Okay, officially out of...
Okay, I'll hold these ones.
No, I can get one more.
No, it's okay, I can hold these. Right. Okay, this is Butte, which is 100% single spun merino 4-ply. I hope this is all showing up. And then we have Firebird, super different because this is merino, silk, and yak.
That's Legend.
Yeah, Legend. So the yak is black, so it pulls it very dark compared to the other ones. So same color, but super dark. And Mint, mohair silk. So we have the fluff. So look at that. So that's all Legend. I mean, that's all...
You keep saying that. You're such a goofball.
That's all Firebird. And it looks so different. How cool is that? I like that. I hope they can see it from there, hopefully. All right, we'll put this away later. Okay, let's see if we have some more questions. Okay, this is some more questions, a little bit rapid fire because there's multiple ones. What is your origin story? We kind of went over that, but they're extrapolating to say your first experience, what piqued your interest, your decision to make it a business. What is
my first experience? I actually saw Katrine.
Yeah?
I started a knitting group in Titirangi, and we had 30 people. It was a lot. So we had a really long conference table. I was at one end. She was sitting knitting at the other end.
Aww.
And I saw her knitting her own yarn. She's another hand dyer.
Yeah, yarn floozy.
Everyone else was like, commercial yarn, commercial yarn, commercial yarn. Then yarn floozy. And I was like, what the heck is that? And I stood up and I went over and talked to her, and I was blown away. Hand-dyed yarn just is a diva.
It's just so different, yeah.
It stands out.
Yeah, it does.
You cannot miss it.
Yeah.
It's so unique, and that was it.
I never knew that. That's so nice.
So a friend, Karen, was there with me, and so Karen and I were like, let's go home and immediately just try this. Do you have white yarn? And she's like, yeah, I think I have white yarn. I was like, I have some white yarn. So we got out the pasta pot and got some white vinegar and food coloring, and that was it, man. That was it.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
Yeah.
And then I put a few skeins on Facebook and just played around.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. What year was that? Do you remember?
Oh gosh, that was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't start that long before I met you. Because I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen
I
you
was
grow.
brand new. We were
Yeah.
both brand new.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. I never knew that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think Katrine knows that.
Well, she might find out if she watches this video.
Woohoo!
Okay, and what is something about dyeing that surprised you, or something you think would surprise people who have never dyed? Interesting.
I think what really surprised me at the point I am now, you need upper body strength. Oh my gosh. I'm shocked at how much 10 skeins of wet yarn weighs, and lifting it up out of the pot over your head. Yeah.
A workout.
Yeah. I was shocked.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't
like that.
dye as much now. Tara does most of the dyeing. So I went in and I'm like, oh yeah, I can cover for her over the holidays. And I could barely drive my car. My back and shoulders and upper body were so sore. So that's a shocker, is how much the wet yarn actually weighs.
Yeah, I wouldn't think of that.
Another shocker, let's see. What surprised me? That's such a good question.
It's a great question. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Oh, it made me love colors that I hated all my life.
Ooh, I like that.
Like dyeing yarn and just being around yarn in general has made me fall in love with pink.
You've got some really bright colors. Yeah.
So dyeing yarn has opened my eyes to loving all colors.
I love
there's
that.
teal on my wall. I was so anti-teal. I have teal. It's like magic.
I know what you mean.
Yarn is magic.
I feel similar, and I'm just so inspired by color, where I used to just wear a lot of black because I didn't really know what to wear. And
I remember that.
I didn't know what would match anything, so I thought it was easier just to wear black. But
you've been on a color journey.
Yeah, now I love color.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we've got. Okay, I found another question. Question for Dyers. Where's the non-superwash? Okay, there's multiple questions, so I'm starting with one.
Okay,
Well, she has some.
Yeah, we
have some too at our shop. We've got loads at our shop.
Yeah, we love non-superwash.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm wondering if this question is coming from. First of all, I don't know where the person asking this question lives. Obviously, we carry a ton of non-superwash in our shop. I don't know that this person lives in Auckland.
Probably a literal ton.
Yeah. But I think maybe the basis of the question, as I'm thinking of it, is it does seem to be a trend that most indie dyers seem to use primarily superwash yarns, and I think people are getting away from that. Yeah, why?
Because everything looks great on superwash.
The color looks so good.
As a dyer, you want your stuff to look amazing.
That's so true.
And it looks fantastic on superwash.
Yeah.
You can't dye superwash yarn in a bad way. It's just
it's so vibrant.
So vibrant.
I will say too, speaking as just a shop person, not a yarn dyer, but there are just a certain proportion of people who they want the superwash yarn because it's easy. I think you have to be a little bit more. You need to be a knitter who is aware of how to deal with non-superwash yarns if you're going to buy non-superwash yarns. So I think people are increasingly getting more and more aware of non-superwash, even unspun yarns, and really cool wools that are bringing us closer to the sort of natural wool. Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah, less processed.
Less processed. Yeah. And sorry, I say processed, but picking up your accent. I think a lot of people are getting more and more into that.
Yeah,
and that's fantastic.
Superwash.
Yeah. And I think that's great. And there's so many reasons why non-superwash is great. It holds its shape. It maintains itself over time. However, I think we're coming from a place where no one knew how to deal with that. No one would have known how to deal with roving yarn or unspun. It just falls apart. Or even woolen spun yarns, they're more delicate. And so I think we're coming from a place where everyone was using superwash. It was easy. And look, there's still a lot of reasons to use superwash if you're knitting for parents with young babies.
Exactly. And I would much rather have someone use my certified superwash wool than get a synthetic product.
Right.
Altogether. That's
and
just
you still
me
have
personally.
The wool. Yeah.
You know, I don't want to bash synthetic yarn, but it's just me personally. I would prefer someone to use a superwash versus a synthetic if non-superwash, if that's the choice. And if having a non-superwash then makes them decide to use synthetic, I would rather offer something in between.
You're giving them another option because it
Yeah.
still has a lot of the benefits of wool.
Yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't have all the benefits because it's been a little bit altered from its original state, but it still has a ton of great benefits. And I think, look, yeah, if you're knitting for a person with a baby and they're barely sleeping, I don't need that person to feel that they have to hand wash everything.
That's right.
Or they accidentally chuck it in the machine and it shrinks, and all that beautiful work that went into it is wasted. So,
And in the end, all yarn is great yarn.
all yarn is
'Cause
yarn.
yarn is amazing.
Yeah.
Whatever yarn you want, it's good for you.
Exactly. And like when I first started knitting, I was going to the big box stores in the US. I was buying the synthetic yarns because I didn't have any money. So I'm a person like what you're saying. I love all yarn.
is good yarn.
And you have to have a lot of different types of yarn for different
Yeah.
types of people and for different situations, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think sometimes choosing sustainable options is a luxury.
yeah, exactly. Because they're often more expensive, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate, but it is true. Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. Okay, let's just do some quick questions that probably have quick answers. Is dyeing yarn bad for your health because of using chemicals? I mean, you guys wear masks, right?
Yeah, it's a great question. A lot of people say, why don't you use natural dyes? And natural dyes require mordants that scare the crap out of me.
They're very complicated to get them right. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
I
whole other
just-
process.
Yeah. So I kind of don't have the facility to do natural dyeing because of soaking in the mordants, and it just takes a lot more square meterage than I have.
Yeah.
And also I want to offer a product that's kind of stands the test of time, that it doesn't fade, and that you could get many decades of use out of it, because that's part of the sustainable fashion. It's just the longevity of the product is important to me. So I do use professional acid dyes, and they are only dangerous if you breathe them in. So we tend not to do that. We wear a big mask that has filters on the edge because it's more comfortable than like just a P2 paper mask, which is also fine, but it's just more comfortable since we wear it all day long. We have more of a respirator situation.
Totally.
And then we will wear glasses because you don't want a citric acid boiling water popping in your eyes. So that's just more for the hot water than the powder of the dye. And we wear gloves because it ruins your fingernails and your fingers.
And dyes your hands off.
I think that it's pretty benign. Like
I mean, when you take all those precautions, I think. Yeah.
So it's not dangerous if you are safety conscious.
Yeah.
And we had a ventilation system installed so that there's, I don't want to say negative pressure in there, but we do have a good draft pulling fresh air in and moist air out.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys have got it sorted.
Yeah.
All right, what else do we have? When I look at hand-dyed yarn, I don't seem to ever find any fully plant fiber bases. Is it because of difficulties in dyeing plant fibers, sourcing issues, or lack of demand? Now, we've partially answered this question because we did already talk about dyeing plant fibers and how it takes different dye. You do carry a few bases that are 100% plant fiber. Do you have any feelings about this topic?
Yeah, because that's definitely a vegan question. So that there's no animal product involved at all.
Some vegans
Totally
don't feel that way, but
no, I totally respect that. It can be an allergy issue.
Yeah, totally.
So
there's just sensitivity as well.
Sensitivity issue. There's just so many reasons why someone would want 100% plant fiber, and so we really kind of jumped onto that this summer, and we've done. This is a 100% cotton boucle.
It's so soft. It's genuinely so soft. It's very thin. It's lightweight, but you can knit it at a big gauge, right?
Oh, that's a big gauge. It's a 4 millimeter needle, 500 meters per 100 gram.
Oh!
So talk about good value.
Oh my gosh. And so how many did you use to make this shirt?
Just 1.5.
Wow.
Just a little over 1 skein.
Guys, it's so lightweight, like a cloud. So this is 100% cotton boucle. Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
It's super nice.
We're going to always carry it. It's called Rhodey.
It's so unique.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a great option. You also have, I think you showed this before, but you also have a linen silk blend.
And silk is not 100%. So that's an animal product.
Oh, that's true, but yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So we are working with a DK cotton.
Oh yeah.
That we have not been happy with the results yet.
Yeah.
So we're waiting on the arrival of our oven.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure plant fiber needs a long time to sit in the heat in the dye.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons we haven't been satisfied with the results of our plant fiber.
Right.
So I think next summer you're really going to see a jump in the plant fibers that we offer.
I think it's great that there are people moving in that direction because especially if you live in a hot climate.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, some yarns with a blend work in a hot climate, but if it's a very hot climate, you kind of just want all plant fibers as well. For my summer garments, I generally want them to be 100% linen, cotton, whatever, maybe a 10% wool, but I mean, there's some 50-50 blends that have wool that are a little more in between season, but for those really hot summer days, I think the plant fibers are perfect.
And a lot of people hesitate to knit with linen because it hurts when you knit with it.
It's hard.
It's hard on your fingers, and so I came up with a trick. Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, I tell my customers to hand wind a ball and then just to do this for a day. Squeeze it like a stress ball.
Yeah.
Give it to your mates, give it to your partner, your husband, your kids.
Yeah.
Have everyone just squeeze it for 24 hours. Just break down that linen before you even knit with it.
Yeah.
So that when you knit with it, it's soft going over your fingers. So if you feel the difference between that, it's a whole new world.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
This is much softer.
So I've had a lot of makers say to me, "Oh, I don't like knitting with linen because it hurts my hands."
Yeah.
And so we kind of just accidentally came up with this technique where you soften the yarn before you knit with it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think it's working. Another thing that I do, which doesn't make a huge difference, I guess, but I typically always knit with metal needles, but when I knit with plant fibers, I often use bamboo. And I tend to enjoy the feeling of that a little bit more because the bamboo itself is a little gentler on your hands. You already knit with bamboo, so for you that's normal, but that's another tip that can help.
Yeah.
I just wonder too about, in the question, if you have any feelings on, they were asking, is there a problem? Is it hard to source the plant fiber yarns at all? And also B, is there a lack of demand? Or no, is there demand?
There's a general lack of demand, but we had a great response to our plant fibers this summer. So we are very encouraged by that, and we will continue to dye more plant fibers. I would say we would be really excited to offer that if we were confident in our product. We still have not nailed the dyeing process of plant fibers. We've still got to work on that.
Right.
Because we want the highest quality product going out to our makers so that they are super happy with their yarn.
Totally.
That's a high priority for us, and we're just not there with our plant fibers yet.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But people, and I think it's a newer thing in general, I think in the knitting world. I think
agree.
people are starting to come more towards the plant fibers, so I think
it's
it will
always
increase.
been there in crochet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Crochet has always embraced the plant fibers.
Cotton and things. Yeah, I think it's increasing with knitters, so I think we will see, as the demand does grow, I think we will probably see it become more popular as well.
And I'm really curious to take wool patterns, especially like intricate kind of lace patterns, and take them over into the linen silk or a plant fiber. I want to do that.
I did that once where I knit a jumper that was supposed to be like a thick wool colorwork jumper, and I knit it in 100% linen.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was totally
Amazing.
different. I was thinking, is colorwork even going to look good in linen? And it looked great. It was
That's
just a
so
completely
cool.
different garment. Yeah. So lots of possibilities. Okay, so that's about it, I think, for the questions for Dyers that I think are relevant here. And I think we've covered some good ground.
Yep.
I think the only other thing that's occurring to me that people are going to ask about is they're going to say, what's up with her accent? She's not a Kiwi either.
Oh, I'm a Kiwi now.
Well, yeah, so you've been here for how many years?
15 years.
Yeah.
We have citizenship.
Yay!
So I actually am a Kiwi now.
She's a Kiwi, but she can't change her accent. I've been here for 8.5 years. So I feel like a Kiwi too.
I could change my accent if my family didn't make fun of me.
Well, I can kind of do the accent, but it's not real, it's not authentic.
I want to have a Kiwi accent.
Me
I do
too.
the Australian better.
Me too, I do Australian better. I kind of want to blend in sometimes. I don't realize until I go back to the US to visit, and I'm in like a grocery store checkout line, and I sound like everyone else. It's kind of comforting, because people do constantly ask me here, where are you from? Where are you from?
Yeah.
How long are you staying? Where are you from? Oh, which part of whatever? And that's fine, but it's so constant that it kind of makes me always feel like I don't belong here, because my accent isn't
Me too.
normal here,
Yeah.
But that's all right.
Yeah, we moved here a long time ago. We wanted to raise our kids here.
Yeah, your kids are pretty much Kiwis, I reckon. Yeah. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
Is there anything else to say?
I don't know. Do you want to talk about any more of the colors or the yarn?
Yeah, we probably should. We should
didn't
show
really-
more samples and
Maybe
stuff.
talk about new colors that have just come out?
Yeah, tell me. What do you want to talk about? What are you doing these days?
Okay.
Let's
I'll
see
go
it
grab
all.
some new colors.
Okay, so these are new colors you've been doing
Yeah,
recently.
we're just coming out with some new colors. Let me get the teal off the wall, because did I bring the teal already? I think I did.
Oh, in mohair.
Yeah, but I think it's also, here it is.
Oh, yeah.
This is brand new. No one's even seen it
I
yet.
haven't seen it
Yeah,
yet.
so
Teal, we meet again.
yes, or teal you later. What do you like better?
I like teal, we meet again. It feels very
It's
oceany
pretty, huh? Yeah,
and
it's so
like
pretty. So Caribbean.
beautiful. Yeah, it is Caribbean.
Okay, this is also a new color called In the Navy.
Ooh, I like it.
So really dark,
Really deep.
blue-black.
deep navy.
That's a brand new color.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet either.
This is a color that we put out at the beginning of the summer called Live That Fantasy.
Oh, same
those two-
color?
Yep, those two together.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I feel like people are in the mood for really bright, vibrant colors right now.
Well,
These are
I
fun.
kind of struggle with what do people want.
I don't know.
How do you color forecast?
I
'Cause
don't think you can.
You do the same thing. So
Yeah.
I think if I were to assume your method,
Yeah.
I think you go with your heart. Like, I think you have an intuition and you just kind of go with what you love.
Yeah.
And I don't trust my intuition. So I kind of look to outside sources.
Yeah.
Like, I love the show Emily in Paris.
I've never seen it.
It's so good. It's Knittable TV.
Oh, yeah.
So this past season, she was just done up constantly in these beautiful primary colors, just bright primaries.
Yeah.
And I was so taken by that. Just the simplicity. There's like this childlike quality. It just exudes happiness
And fun.
and fun.
Yeah.
And it's so basic.
Like that. That's
So
fun.
yeah, so we really went with just very inspired by Emily in Paris. We
mean-
went with
Absolute primary.
it's like Sesame Street.
Yeah. Like, I
just
wouldn't
love
put
it.
these three together, but I like them
but
individually.
we just had so much fun with primaries this
Yeah.
year. So we have Gobstopper, which is more of an electric orange, kind of lighter red.
Feels more neon.
That was really fun.
And then this is like a true red.
Yeah.
I will say that was very flattering, but I also use outside sources. Like sometimes I go to the shopping malls, or I even look on some, I'm not fashionable,
On purpose.
but fashion-y websites to see what people are selling.
Yeah.
And figure out, okay, that's where the trends are going. Because I do see color trends in shops and things.
Yeah.
I'll go to like the mall and see what's kind of happening and what
Yeah.
people are into, just to try to get a sense for where the color trends are going. But I do think you can kind of feel it, because I think the color trends are based on the cultural mood a little
It
bit.
is,
And so you can
absolutely.
kind of feel what people
Absolutely.
are wanting.
Yeah.
And right now people are wanting vibrancy and color, I think.
So
What is this?
This is a brand new color
Yeah.
called Pinky Swear. Do you know Pinky Swear? Because we just needed a little break, a little kind of breathe out.
Yeah.
And so that was our exhale.
It's just
kind
sweet.
Of just that
It's sweet.
relaxing, and that
Yeah.
has been done really well.
And right around Valentine's Day, I mean,
Yeah,
look at
right
these.
around Valentine's
Day, you guys.
Yeah, and
Beautiful.
this is a sweater knit with one of our most popular colors called Sweet Little Lies. And it's a hand-painted pink with some cream, and it's got purple speckles and dark charcoal speckles and yellow speckles. So it's just another great Valentine's Day.
Does that have mohair in it, or is that?
It does. It has a white mohair. And the reason I put a white mohair in it was just to mellow out.
Is it Kinaz?
The hand-painted, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to show people. I think people, especially when we're combining different yarns, I think people really like to see what we started with because it can be hard to visualize. But this is, oh, that's the wrong color, sorry.
Potpourri. I don't know if we have Sweet Little Lies. You could grab it on DK, that would be fine. I told you we're really low on yarn.
Yeah, we don't have it. Okay, this is the wrong base, but it's the same color. So that's Sweet Little Lies, and that's the white mohair, which I think is called Tusk.
Yeah.
And when you put them together, you just get this very soft, subtle speckle. I think it's great. And this is the Sunday sweater, I think, right? By Petite Knit? Yeah.
Highly recommend.
Beautiful.
Great beginner pattern.
Yeah, Petite Knit has fantastic, well, beginner and advanced patterns, frankly. But
it's not boring.
Yeah.
If you are an advanced knitter, you still have heaps of fun knitting that.
And it looks like a big gauge, which is nice.
7mm needle. You blink and it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, before we go, what have you been knitting in case people are going to ask?
I've had this little skein of Butte laying around in the colorway Dandy. And I love this colorway. And I just thought one skein wonder shawl.
Yeah.
So a little bit of mindless knitting. I'm knitting the Rosewater shawl.
Oh, yeah.
Janina Kallio.
Kallio.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll insert a photo.
It's just a beautiful little lacy shawl.
It's lovely.
And I just finished the Sophie hood.
Ooh.
And this is a comeback color for us. This is Maud.
Oh, I like Maud.
We're just reintroducing it again.
You want me to model it?
Yeah.
I've never worn a hood.
It suits you.
Ooh, I like it. Because it feels like a Sophie scarf plus a... Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks really good.
All right, well, if anyone is wondering what I'm knitting, it's my sock, but I've showed you this already. I have made very minimal progress on it, but maybe a couple rows while we've been chatting.
Progress is progress.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for chatting. This was fun.
I loved it. Yeah,
we can do this
talking
again.
about doing this for years.
I know. Well, we can do it again. We can do it anytime.
Let's do it anytime.
We'll make a plan. So after this, I'm going to start teaching Lester to spin. Yay! Well, thank you for chatting with me. We did it! Success! Okay, we'll do this again sometime.
Yes, please. Let's do it.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, and thank you for watching.
Can I eat now?
Yeah. See you again soon. Bye.